for fast, cheap, and reliable Madden 21 Ultimate Team coins, make sure you guys go check out my sponsor U4GM Coins. Use code VENM at checkout for 5% off your order. Yo, what's good guys, Venom Fire here, back from the video, and today I'm be showing you guys one of my most surgical offenses in Madden 21. Today we're going to be dissecting some defenses out of the gun Y off trio week. This is definitely one of my favorite formations for years now. I ran a lot in Madden 19, not so much in Madden 20. But it still is a very fun offense to use. It's very spread out. Now, the motion does kind of hurt a little bit, but I still love this formation. Tons of great stock, built-in plays. And with that being said, let's just hop straight into our audible. So, as you see, I already preset mine. I got Saints outs, sticking up, Saints deep out, and Saints cross. Now, there are still some really good plays that I'm not going to go over. I probably won't go over PA post dig shot. That's a very solid play. You got stock 4 verticals, which is nice, as well as this PA wide receiver in, which I will talk about a little bit later in the video. You also got halfback base, but this is going to be more of a pass-heavy offense, so I won't talk about that until the end. But with that being said, let's just start out of my favorite play out of the formation, Saints outs, and I'm just going to try an audible between a lot of different defenses. Now, if I don't get to every defense, I do apologize in advance. But just keep in mind that it is going to be difficult for me to just continue to reset my plays. But taking a look, you see I got my trips, my quote-unquote trips. We got the 3 receivers on this right-hand side, the solo receiver on the short side, as you do out of pretty much any formation. So again, we're just going to get the most space to operate. Saints out, it is a very good play stock. So it's one of those really where you find a good offense is something that you can just quick snap. So quick snapping is one of the most annoying things to go up against. It really does frustrate me if I'm on defense and my opponent goes to the line, snaps the ball. Usually I'll be in between an adjustment, and again, if I'm playing risky, I could end up giving a touchdown if I don't get my adjustments off, or you can get stuck on the D line. You might not be in position. A lot of things can happen when you quick snap the ball. So if I, for example, just were to come out in the play, snap the ball immediately, it would be very frustrating for my opponent. And really, out of Saints outs, the real main reason I like it is these built-in flat routes. So we got Alvin Kamara on this built-in table route. We got Jared Cook on this extended flat route. And this route with Cook is very nice because the normal flat route looks like this, where you would stop around the numbers. And then sometimes when you throw it, when he's stopping, he just won't react. But for this one, he's never going to stop running. So you can really throw it at any time. I could obviously wait. Now, really, it's better against cover 2 on that right-hand side, and cover 3 is better on the left-hand side. Cover 3 does a lot better job than it used to at defending this play. And again, the curl flats are a little bit better. Now, you can always seem to check down that early, but if you were to wait and throw that flat route, it definitely would not be open. And this is a play where you really, if you do end up waiting to throw it, you're kind of in a bad position because a lot of these are, quick snap reads and those types of things. So again, I wait, 2 seconds, I get the ball out. You don't want to be holding onto the ball for an extended period of time. Anyways, let's say your opponent is sending heat at you. The other way you could do it, and my other favorite setup is going to be blocking Y and putting X on a little in route. What I would do on this right hand side is put B on a curl, create a little curl flat concept. Now again, I'm not going to audible to a cover 2 on defense, but if they were running cover 2, make sure you do not throw these out routes. Extended out routes are a lot worse this year. They can be good against man coverage if you have a high overall player that meets the route running threshold, but if you don't, you'll throw a lot of interceptions on them. So just keep that in mind. But again, if they're running cover 2, you'll throw this flat route or you throw the table. Very similar to the cover 3. Cover 3, it used to be very easy to throw those out routes. This year, it's not as good. So again, it is a little bit worse. But taking a look there, I just made the terrible read. But really what that curl does, it's going to open up the flat against cover 3 a little bit more. I'll show it again with the setup. Again, this was a look at my setup. I just put B on a curl, blocked my halfback, and threw Michael Thomas on a little in route. And again, you'll wait, and then you'll throw this little flat route. You guys see we got a lot of space up the field, which is obviously very nice to have, especially throwing an out route, picking up 10 yards or whatever the case may be. But again, basically gives you another high-low read. This in route is going to be very difficult for them to defend. You're going to make them respect that solo side receiver. And a lot of formations like bunch, people are going to sort of ignore that receiver, but you really want to make him useful. I can, quick snap that. I could wait, and then I can still throw it. But really, you just got to, you got 2 high-low reads, see which one he uses and attack the other one. More times than not, he's probably going to use the in-route to post-route concept. So I find myself usually attacking the flats on this right-hand side or whatever. But you see, you can really attack it late in the play. Again, if you wanted to run your trio on the short side, you could definitely do that to avoid throwing, interceptions and such. But let's move on to our next play, the sticking up. And one last thing out of Saints outs, if they were running man coverage, you got the out route, 2 out routes, and you got the post route. One of them will be open. But with that being said, again, let's move on to just sticking up. This is a very solid play. Wasn't as good last year, but it's very good this year. You just got this little built-in post route with Michael Thomas, similar to Pat Sale, if you know what that play is. But also we got these other routes. Now we're going to be audibling all 3 of these players. So what I like to do personally is to put A on a drag. And you could actually run it like this. So I could just throw A on drag, keep RB on his sort of reverse zig route. And again, really does depend on personal preference. But what I will say is that my favorite way to run this play is going to be like this, where I throw RB on a little streak and I keep B on his slant route instead of having RB on that little reverse zig. That route's really not the best and really doesn't get in between zones the best, so I just like to put him on a streak. And again, if it's cover 2, cover 3, you can always quick snap the streak or end up splitting it up the middle, whatever the case is, throw it up the seam. But with Sanders, you're going to motion him in, snap the ball like that. He gets in a very soft spot of the zone against cover 2 and cover 3. Usually will be difficult to defend. You're pretty much forcing a cross-man adjustment, and for most of the plays, if they're going to cross-man B, we'll definitely take that. This is really there's only a couple of plays where that's going to be a good idea. But again, cover 3, the post route gets perfectly over those players, and really the drag route is what does the job for it. The drag route's going to pull down that left of screen hook curl, and it really does open up your post route. And again, pretty much to just see which one he's using. More times than not, he's going to user that post route, but if he does not throw the post route, obviously, but usually he's going to use that little post, and it'll open up this quick snap slant. Now, one thing that I didn't mention that I'm doing, you notice that I'm doing, is I'm motioning him in. Now, this isn't a complete motion that you can do. So, for example, if I just motion him completely, he's going to go up here. So, really, if you just motion snap him anytime before then, he's going to get a little better animation. That's really good against man press as well. You get a little motion snap right there. He's going to get a little faster break. Pretty much it's just going to add. He's going to be a little bit shorter on his route, actually, which will definitely help, in my opinion. And it just makes the play overall a little bit faster. Again, obviously, you could see the drag route being open. A lot of times you might not want to double flat on that left-hand side, which will leave your little drag route open for 5+ yards pretty much every time. So again, just attack that. But again, cover 2, cover 3, pretty much the same. If it's man coverage, this post route beats man. Then you got the slant. Pick one. Drag will also beat man coverage. But yeah, let's move on to our next play. It's going to be the Saints cross. Now, Saints cross, very solid play. You got a crossing route. You got this little dig route on the right side, and then you also have Michael Thomas on this little delay fade. Now, this delay fade is going to be really good against cover 2, but only on the other side. So if I were to move my trio to that right-hand side, the short side, this streak would be a little bit better. I don't even really like throwing it too much because the safeties do play the outside a lot more this year. So you really want to attack them actually up the middle. But one thing about Madden 21 is that the sidelines are pretty easy to defend, and usually the parts of the field you want to attack this year, I've noticed, are the middle of the field, because you want to put a lot of stress on the user. Obviously, if they're only single flatting each side, you can attack the flats with a high-low read, but more times than not, I've noticed people double flatting a ton, or at least manning up the player that would be in the flats. So my favorite route combo for this is just going to be Y on a little curl. You could also put him on a little option. So if it's man coverage, he'll break to the outside. If it's zone, he will sit in his spot. Again, it doesn't really matter. And then A, I like to just put in a streak. You're pretty much forcing him to man him up or user that streak. And if he's going to user this tight end streak, he's going to be late more than likely on the crosser. He can really revert to this little in route pretty well. But usually you'll have the option and the crosser both wide open. Just pick one to throw. Again, take a look at how wide open that little option route is. I can't stress this enough. This is one of the most annoying things that I've actually noticed and started using in my game. Yes, I do take some things that I struggle against into my own game, but just these little running back like delay hooks, little small option hook routes, and specifically against zone, the ones that break to the outside are not very good. So if you're running zone, you can just leave them on an option. If you don't know if they're running man or zone, I would just put them on a hook curl. But really, the options are super difficult to defend. You're forcing your opponent to man somebody up, and look how just wide open. He's so much space. Again, no zone's really ever going to defend that route, which is why it makes it so useful. And again, you get somebody manning him up. If he's continuing to man him up, it's pretty much useless, so you can always block him. But again, maybe I throw A on a little out route. The unfortunate thing is that I can't put A on like a hitch, because that would be nice in this situation, or your tight end on a hitch. But again, if it's cover 2, you can always attack that play. But look at the crosser. It's going to get very open against cover 2 and cover 3. Unless they adjust their zone drops super high. So if you notice them dropping their zone drops, maybe you even throw A on like a drag. And then in this case, maybe I would go ahead and motion Kamara over, put him on like a wheel route. Again, you can just sort of mix things up. This is definitely a solid route combo. Look at the in route get wide open. Again, you can really get diverse with this offense. I'm not going to talk about this play for too much or too long. It's this formation is very good against max or blitzing. You can easily block 7 people, which always makes a formation better. With that being said, let's move on to our next play, Saints deep out. Now, Saints deep out is very interesting, I will say. It's very good against man coverage. You got a lot of man beaters. You got this little in route, you got this out route, and then you got this post route. So again, we're going to do sort of the same thing we did out of the sticking up. We're going to motion Sanders in on this little post route. He's just going to get in between the zones a little bit better. You see right there, gets in between the cover 3 perfectly. And it's going to turn him into a shorter player or a shorter play. Again, you don't have to smart out it. He's already breaking at around 7-8 yards, so you don't have to smart out this one. What I would recommend is smart routing X so that he's a little bit shorter. Him and the post route won't run to the same exact area. If I wanted to, again, maybe I throw Y on a little hook, A on a drag, or I could put A on like an out route, A on a flat. Again, more times than not, the flat will be open in this case. That out route really doesn't do a whole lot of anything. If it is zone coverage, this player right here is what I'm talking about. But again, another concept if I don't want to motion in is maybe I go with this. A on a little drag, I would smart out X, put Y on a wheel route. Obviously, when I do that, unfortunate that I cannot motion Sanders in, but still would be a solid player. You see Kamara would be pretty open on that. Obviously, I even threw that a little bit late. But like I said, you can really get diverse with these. I'm not going to show you all of the setups because that would take forever. But just as far as running it stock, motion Sanders in, motion hike him right there. And then you see the flats open, the digs open, we had B open. We just got shedded, unfortunate. But again, the theme out of this formation, the thing that I'm trying to implement to you guys is attack the middle of the field. Really attack it strongly. And that's what this formation does. It puts a lot of pressure on the middle of the field. But it also has good outside options. You see, we still do have a flat. We still do have an out route on that side. So you're forcing him to double flat every time. And then you're always going to have 2 routes in the middle of the field. Again, I could maybe if I wanted to, what I could go ahead and do is maybe I block my running back, put X on a little drag. Again, just simplifying things. Maybe I throw Y on a wheel. Again, you can just obviously quick snap that drag, really force the zones to play underneath and attack over the top. So let's move on to our last 2 plays. And yeah. Alright guys, moving on to our last 2 plays. We got the PA wide receiver in and the halfback base. I'll talk about the base for a little bit. Very decent run to mix in. I love the halfback bases, halfback powers this year, 0-1 trap, those types of run concepts. They're very successful, and it's very difficult to use or shoot the gap. Now again, it's not going to be the most consistent play, and really the best way to run this base would be to run it flipped. So you're going to get if you didn't know, you'll get a faster IZ animation or base animation or power animation. When you're running it to this side with the right-handed QB, you saw how fast Breeze handing off the football. Again, I did a bad job of following my blocks there, but again, it's a very decent run. For whatever reason, Jared Cook just cannot seem to pick up a block. But yeah, it's good to mix in. Obviously, you know we're in a pass-heavy set. You want to mix in the run at least a couple of times a game. But yeah, you see, usually you'll be able to run up the gut for about 5 yards. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. Just want to let you know that it is in the playbook. But let's move on to our last play, last pass, PA wide receiver in. This is really good for a number of reasons. Usually, it's very good just because it's stock. Now, I'm going against man coverage now. I know I went against zone pretty much every play. I do apologize, but as far as man, we got this in route that'll beat man. We got the drag that'll beat man. We got this little S route that'll beat man. Now, in years past, this wheel would also beat man, which would make it completely overpowered, but unfortunately, this year they nerfed it. It is what it is, but with B, what you will do is you'll smart out him, and then, again, we're going to motion him in. We're going to motion him in. Make sure that you're very careful with this. You throw on the brake. If you wait a little bit, then depending on what style of defense they do, if they have zones in the middle of the field, can get picked up. So be careful about that. I'm in a cover one robber, so there is a 3 receiver hook. So that's why I'm being careful to throw on break. Now, again, that will take some timing. And obviously, this play is going to be a lot better if I were to run it with someone like Michael Thomas, because he has, all the abilities in the book. But you see Sanders is still able to get a pretty quick break, and I accidentally called a different play when I flipped. My bad. But again, with Sanders, you want to smart out it. And then you just want to, usually I don't like to motion him in too much, because you see we get a lot more separation when I snap the ball as soon as I start motioning. What I mean by that is let's wait a little bit. Let's wait till he gets closer like that. And then you see it's a little bit less separation. I even threw it early, but still you see how Roby was a little bit closer. So the timing for this play is you're going to smart out B, and then you're just going to motion him in, snap the ball as soon as you can. I even snapped it a little bit late there, which is why he's so close right there. But again, practice the timing if you want in practice mode. The other routes, we got the drag. Obviously, Cook, he's going to get open. We got this little dig route that's going to be open late. Again, it depends if they have players in the middle of the field or not, whatever. Even if you were to wait a little bit late, maybe Sanders would open up. Obviously, I can sort of run it stock. They do have a zone in the middle of the field, but he still will get open just a little bit deeper. Again, maybe I could run that S post with a little slant, with the drag route, whatever. You can really just do a lot with this, and that's why I like it. I can just mix in a lot of fun route combos, but yeah, it's pretty much going to do it for the video. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new, and peace. I'm out of here.